hope this is on. All right, they say the best way to start is just to start, so I'm going to go ahead and start. Okay, so just wanted to make a video about this, but figured might as well stream it live and see if we get anybody that have questions that I can maybe shed some light on. This was getting a lot of attention last week, and on Facebook it's up to 295 comments on the article, and I feel like a lot of the articles or a lot of the comments on the Facebook page are kind of not addressing the right thing. So I figured I could do a little short video kind of clearing the air on some of this. So maybe you kind of hopefully feel a little bit more informed and kind of know a little bit more of what's going on by the time this is done. If you have a comment, please go ahead and leave a comment, and I'll address it as they come in. Okay, but here is, you can see the actual rendition, the actual design of what the Micropark is going to be like. And this definitely isn't going to be the final version, but we can kind of see a couple different things here, and they have it all labeled. An accessible entry on this side, which I think would probably be 4th Street, on 4th Street, and then the stairs on Main Street. Recreational lawn with string lights. I don't know if that's fake grass or real grass. Bench swings with canopy. Some outdoor seating with, it looks like, some shade above it. An outdoor gaming zone, which I'm not really sure what that could be. It doesn't make it super clear. And then an LED TV, and then public restrooms. The restrooms is something that I think a lot of people don't know about this, but I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty certain that the whole reason that this kind of came about, or that this was started being thought up, was because once Jasper did the renovation around the square, the public restrooms in the basements are no longer accessible to the public. So that kind of left a hole where nobody has any public restrooms anywhere around the courthouse. So this is supposed to be, I can pull up a map here. So here's the courthouse. Here is Oink, and it is going to be this lot. So we can see right here, this is where the actual proposed Micropark is going to be. And they said that they also were looking for something to kind of bridge a bit of a divide between Riverwalk and Main Street and the downtown area. And so they're hoping that this kind of acts as like a bridge point for that. So that is actually where the proposed Micropark is going to be. So an entryway this way and an entryway over here. What I don't understand is really, why does it need to be super raised? Because the stairs here make it seem like you're going up a few feet. And I'm just curious as to why it couldn't just be ground level, what the thinking is behind that. But we'll go through the articles, plural, here in just a little bit. But we're also going to be diving through the 295 Facebook comments and going through those and addressing some of those comments. Okay, so I'm not going to pull the comments up over on the video, because I'm not trying to dox any people that left a comment, but I will be reading through them. And let's just start with the first one. Andy left a comment. I like how the design will keep the space usable for the beer garden and enhance the space as well. I hardly ever see anyone use that lot as a parking lot anyway, and there is plenty of on-street parking. I like this enhancement. Jasper gets lots of compliments about how pretty downtown is, and this will just add to it. I know that Jasper does get a lot of compliments about how pretty it is downtown, but they, right off the bat, there's people disagreeing with them. So Andy continues, my only wish that the main entrance would be made into an accessible entrance rather than a separate accessible entrance off to the side. That's what I was saying. I'm not sure exactly why it needs to be raised, but somebody commented, do you want to pay our increase in property taxes like they are now? They have done different things around the square, and I've never saw anyone use them. Uh, someone they responded back, I see people use them. I swear they can make this place the nicest place in the world, and y'all find something to complain about. And then they responded back, a lot of people agree with me. Uh, Dean responded to him and said, you evidently haven't tried to find parking around the courthouse during business hours. I know that is a big discussion, or a big topic for downtown Jasper, is the parking. And I think I possibly have maybe a solution that I'll cover towards the end of this. But they said, all the time, I just walk a block. It isn't that hard. Someone says, oh, to be young again and with no physical impairments. They responded back, you weren't parking in this lot to get to the courthouse if you were physically impaired anyway. It's because it's a block or two away from the courthouse. 1-2 blocks away from the courthouse. I mean, there is handicap parking around the square. I'm pretty sure that there is. You're kind of missing my point. Some people have issues for whatever reason walking less than a block. I'm not talking about being lazy either. I mean, that's true. Someone said, so selfish and blind. I don't think that's really nice. They responded, how am I selfish and blind? I am downtown quite a bit. There's usually empty handicap parking less than a half a block away from the square, usually closer than if you have to park at Walmart handicap spots. I don't know if that's true or not. And if I drive, I can find a parking spot within a block, definitely closer than what I have to walk at Walmart. Always, even during the busiest times, usually through my park, blah, blah, blah. I know what you were saying, but the 4 or 5 cars that usually park here are not parking at handicap spots, nor will they take up handicap spaces. They can easily park in the 10 empty spots that are on the street. It is 10 parking spaces that will be gone if this goes through. And I think that's the biggest thing that people are going to be complaining about through this thread. Okay, we're going to be moving on. Too bad people keep voting for the same people year after year. I saw a few of these comments, and I think this might have been the reason to compel me to kind of make this video, but this is not elected officials making this plan at all. And the article even says that. I mean, the title is Heart of Jasper, which Heart of Jasper is a non-profit. And none of the people that are that serve on the board of Heart of Jasper that help with them are any kind of elected officials. So I'll read a few more of those comments and we'll see them. But that I feel like is just completely kind of missing the entire point, that not a single elected official came up with this or proposed this. And it hasn't been passed by any elected official. It hasn't been brought before the Jasper Common Council. Some of them may know about it, but that doesn't mean that it's actually been brought before the entire council and that they voted on it in any kind of way. So we'll keep going through. Tanya replied, and they did again yet today. That was during the primaries. I'm getting tired of fighting. Tuesday was a primary, not an election. Big difference. People voted for the people they complain about, so ... They have to live with their mistake. They're ruining our country with their ignorance at the voting booth. Again, that's kind of funny, but these people are not elected officials. None of these people were voted on, to my understanding, at least not publicly. There comes a time when the elderly need to retire. There's a reason for this, and as well, voting habits need to change. Keep your options open and don't be a sheep. The elderly need to retire comment is a little sharp, and I don't think necessary. Kathy continues, people don't have money to pay bills or to pay for rising food prices. That's true. And the madness just continues like some kind of horror show. And in Jasper, there are enough parks already. No one is worried about recreation. I talked to someone the other day who said she can't afford to pay the taxes on a house in Jasper, much less pay for a house they live in. Okay. Mike says, there goes the Strassenfest Beer Garden. That is interesting thing to note. This is definitely in the beer garden territory. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is typically where the actual beer vendors would set up. So I'm not sure how that would work going forward. I don't know if people would be allowed to use it during the beer garden. I'm assuming that they would, but maybe not. Maybe they would keep it open for the public. Amy says, just curious, is there anyone on this committee that makes below poverty income? No, we don't need this frivolous crap. Housing for lower income families is greatly needed. I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe not. I'm not gonna go digging into their finances. Housing for lower income families is greatly needed. That is true. There are a couple projects in the works about that. Amy says, why not let all of Jasper decide on how to waste the money? Okay. Tracy says, we have more important issues to spend money on than more adult sitting areas. Kids need playgrounds, not just green space. The parklands were originally slated to have a playground in addition to the fort, but that hasn't happened. Bonnet Playground is surrounded by a swamp trough with no easy access to the play structure. Parker Park is nice, but doesn't have restroom facilities. All of these other spaces could use more attention before we build another quote-unquote park. There's 18 replies to this one. Megan says, exactly. Kayla says, agree. John says, they seem to be competing with Huntingburg. Laura says, totally agree. And what about a splash park designed specifically for handicapped kids? Lynn says, agreed. Amanda says, not to mention the lack of maintenance to remove weeds, mow more than once every 3 weeks, bee wash removal. Like, can we take care of the parks we do have? Whitney says, agree. The playgrounds in Jasper need some attention, upgrades before anything else. Melissa says, where is Parker Park? Where is Parker Park? 9th and Mill Street. Oh, that's the other downtown one. Yeah, Robert E. Parker Park. Yeah, this one. This little one. Okay, fair enough. 100% agree. Heart of Jasper should focus on these things if they really want to improve the community. Vicky says, you go, girl. Kathy says, I agree with you. A huge waste of money going on in Jasper. So quite a few people agreeing with Tracy that said that they should focus more on the other parks. I don't disagree with that. I think it's really a good idea to make sure that the other parks are taken care of. I've gone to Bonner Park quite a few times. That's probably the main park that I go to, and whenever I do go to parks, and it is anytime you want to play volleyball or walk around, the grass is usually very swampy, and it's really not nice to walk around in. Michelle says, we do not need a park downtown. If we take away parking spaces, where are the customers for the downtown businesses going to park? If they have to walk a long distance to shop, they're going to go somewhere else to spend their money. I agree with that a little bit, to a degree. Laura responded, almost sounds like parking problems in Huntingburg. Donna responded, which reduces more handicap parking. Gary says, agree. They already have a park downtown, the Riverwalk. Very rarely do I see anyone using the new downtown square socializing area. I mean, I use it. I live downtown. I use it a bit. Kathy says, there's no place to park at these downtown businesses, and the handicapped are left out. I swore that there were some handicapped parking around the square, but maybe I'm wrong now. I'm starting to think maybe I'm wrong. Just a bunch of swings and chairs and benches. Who wants to sit there and relax? Who has time to? I mean, after work, some people have time to. Not all of my memories at the courthouse squares are good ones. It's a driving nightmare now. All we needed was room to drive around the square, not to sit down and enjoy the view. Okay. Dara says, I'm trying to keep an open mind, but seriously, why are we taking away more parking spaces? We do not need a micro park downtown, just my opinion. Thank you, Dara, for the opinion. Sean says, I agree. Alicia says, it doesn't make sense to take away parking but invite even more people. I mean, yeah, it does. Yeah, these guys are all, I think, kind of right. 10 parking spots right there. Steven, if this gets voted in by the Common Council, we need to replace every single one of them in the next election. Honestly, they should put these types of things on the ballot for the people to decide. All caps on people. Why not put it to vote instead of shoving it down our throats? this guy's right about, at least he's right about, it's the Common Council. It is the Common Council eventually. I mean, they're not there yet, but it is them eventually that would be the ones voting on this. Janelle says, I'd love to know when they plan to come up with something for our preteen and teenagers to do around here. Currently, their options are the bowling alley, movies, and skate palace. Skate palace. Those guys are awesome. Globe Bowl usually quickly with adults. Kids under 16 can't go to the movies alone after 6 p.m. and a small fortune to send them. Forget taking the whole family. Absolutely ridiculous. The skate palace is reasonably priced but has limited hours and desperately needs an update. Maybe instead of adding another hangout for grown-ups to sit around and drink under Dora while their kids run around barely supervising the road, to update existing places like the Skate Palace, which has literally been around for decades and never changes. Our teens need safe and fun places to see. Comment about this being a Dora initiative and just the aspect of parents not watching kids if they are drinking there. That is right next to 2 roads, which I would say are moderately busy. Main Street more than 4th Street. But that does paint a bit of a scary image in regards to that. All right, keep going. Amy says, this is not needed. I much prefer having the parking downtown. All caps. I do know about parking because I work downtown and hear customers' needs. This all came about because courthouse basement restrooms can no longer... Here we go. This all came about because courthouse basement restrooms can no longer be used for general public after 100 years of being that way. Please go back to the drawing board a few times on this restroom issue like you did for several years on the library until you got it right. That is very interesting because I wonder why they're actually closed off or why they are not able to be used by the public anymore. Why can't we just reopen them? Linda says, I agree. Susan says, I know I'm newly back to the community, but I agree with you. The update to the square has left very limited parking, and for anyone with mobility issues, this will be a deterrent for those shoppers to shop local. There is a park at the Riverwalk, which could be enhanced, but is a few blocks away for this purpose, which is true. That is a little bit of a hike for most people. We're talking, like down here. So that's a good, you park and then you walk a block to get there, and then you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks essentially to get to the square. 7 blocks to get to the square. It's a little far. Susan continues, or as others have stated, update the dilapidating existing parks in the community. Do the merchants whom own around the square ever have an opportunity to voice as this greatly affects their business? I would hope that the merchants around the square get a bit of a say-so. I hope that the city's asking those guys. Danielle says, this is a waste of money. Okay. If this is in the social district, then you're going to have too many drunks congregating. We need improvements at our current parks. Bonnet is a swamp. JC's is yucky with construction. Sarah's Place is too tucked back to go safely. 9th Street is on its last leg. The riverfront could use a nice new one. Also, we need to enforce the crosswalks downtown. My kids and I have almost been hit multiple times. Let's focus on our young and not more areas for people to sit. This, I agree with a lot of this comment. Especially the other parks definitely need a bit of a tune-up. Something needs to be done downtown as far as enforcing crosswalks, because it seems like people really, really like to just skid through stop signs and hit people. I've heard of multiple stories, and I've also been recently almost a victim of that, where somebody ran a stop sign and almost hit me. So with Danielle's comment, I agree a lot. John Phillips, how about trying to innovate a way to fix the roads, side streets, sidewalks in this town? Yep. Carmen says, city is only concerned with keeping up the parade route. John says, meanwhile, 2 water mains busted along Jackson Street in a week. That is true. We did recently have 2 water lines bust. One close to, this was like last week, Jackson and 14th, 15th, in between Jackson and 15th and 14th. A water line busted, and when they tried to fix it, another one busted down here on 8th Street, I believe. So maybe we could focus on that a little bit. Lee says, what are they doing to the water tower on the top of the hill? I don't know, actually. Gary says, and the sewer pipe problems, especially in the older part of the town. Yep. Ty says, feels like Jasper is just trying to tick off boxes on some imaginary how to make my town trendy, how to, pathetic. Okay, it's a little rough. Also, how do you propose I walk to and enjoy this park when the few sidewalks the city does have are either a wreck or so narrow I risk being clipped by a car? Yeah, we need better sidewalks. Sandra, this is not needed. Jasper needs to learn to live within their means. They need to learn to budget like us working people have to. The expensive library was not needed. Should have just updated when needed. It would have been fine. The $10 million pool is not needed either. Jasper is getting too big for their own good. When is enough enough? Quit throwing money away. There are a lot of projects going on right now. There are just a few projects going on right now. Lee says, DuBois County needs to stop wasting money. This is the city of Jasper, not DuBois County. Needs to stop wasting money they don't have because the grants they get us. Because of the grants they get, us taxpayers are paying that back. True to a degree, that is true. They should have kept the older library and turned it into an arcade. I heard someone saying that they are about to get rid of the Skate Palace in Jasper. That is not true. Skate Palace is definitely not going anywhere. Nobody wants anyone to have fun anymore. I see a lot of trees being torn down by 231 by Ruxter Ford. What's going on over there? People need to get outside and enjoy nature because tomorrow is never promised. The parents these days need to stop bailing their kids out of jail. Stop buying them these very expensive vehicles because when they drive these to school, your insurance rates are going through the roof. And what if you get laid off from your job? When that happens, you will realize that what you did was wrong and make your child work for a vehicle. It's common sense. There's a lot to digest there. And I'm going to move on. Bill said amen, and so does the county and every other city in DuBois County. Okay. Gary says absolutely. Lana says you forgot the way overdone downtown square. Okay. Milana says, I no longer have a dog in this fight as I have lived in Louisville for 30 years, but it is very funny and yet interesting to see the true German come out in these comments. For those that know, you know. Love it. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Dollar says, let's help some of the less fortunate or homeless. Let's see it really make a difference in the community. We are all one step away from being in a situation of needing help. Oh. Amy responds, I agree. It seems Jasper keeps wasting money on things we really don't need. Build affordable housing for the ones that can't afford these crazy housing costs. Places to live that people feel safe and not trashed by those that don't care about where they live. Some people just want affordable and safe housing, not riddled by those that don't care about being a good neighbor or safety of others. And then the author, actually, from DC Freep, DuBois County Free Press. Here's an article. Well, let's post it over here. New housing development plan for former Indiana Furniture Factory. Yeah. Yep. So that is true. There is working on that. Okay. And Donna says those won't be affordable either. We don't know that. We don't know really. Joe says, and that is not going to help the homeless we have in Jasper. The new recovery projects that I am working on will help the homeless situation that involves recovery. Recovery begins with a smile. That is nice. Recovery begins with a smile. Joe says, I can tell you right now that this is going to happen. The project has nothing to do with what the community wants. It is about what Kirstein and Heart of Jasper wants. It is all about money, egos, pride, and propaganda. This is why a lot of these communities and boards never put blue-collar citizens on their boards because they know that we will disagree with them on certain projects. It's all about publicity, media, and propaganda, not about the citizens of the community. Let's work with the whole community, not just certain people and organizations. Quote, community supporting the community. One reply on that. Bingo Joe. Okay. I mean, there's a lot there. It's all about publicity, media, and propaganda, not about all the citizens in the community. I just don't know if that's in small town Jasper. Do we have a lot of that? Barb says, just like the square, did Jasper really need that? Just fix the things Jasper does have. Okay. Steven says, Heart of Jasper should raise the money themselves. This should not be a taxpayer expense at all. Okay, let's stop for a second. Go back to this. Heart of Jasper. Heart of Jasper is a nonprofit that is looking to raise the funds themselves. And I wonder if it even says it. They're proposing, it's a proposed plaza at the corner of 4th and Main Street. Phase 1 will be the creation of a small plaza in the city-owned parking lot next to Oink. So the city owns this parking lot. So Heart of Jasper is not proposing that the city spend the money to do this. Heart of Jasper is proposing that they design this and raise the money for it and do all the work themselves, and that Jasper City, or the city of Jasper, allow them to do this. That is essentially what is going on. That is how it is working. That is the process of this. So to proceed with this phase, the Heart of Jasper will seek approval from the Jasper Common Council to use the parking lot for the project. Then they must seek approval for an exception to allow a park plaza downtown. Quote, we have a series of meetings we need to go to for those answers before we move forward with architectural designs and a fundraising campaign. Bingo, fundraising campaign. They are going to raise the money themselves. They are not proposing that Jasper citizens and the city of Jasper pay for this out of pocket themselves. The group presented some conceptual ideas for the space, which were created by Rundle Ernstberger Associates, the Indianapolis firm. All right, well, there's a different angle that's more head-on, straight forward-facing. So you got your shade. That's a lot of tables. I feel like this would have to be fake grass. And also, what if animals are, like, relieving themselves on that grass? Who's going to be cleaning that up? And how often? Because I don't want like a dog poo to be sitting there for 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it looks very nice. You can't say that doesn't look nice. It looks very nice. Oh, look, artificial astroturf. All right, it is fake grass. A gaming zone of some sort will be located in the northeast corner. Okay, that's it from, I think, standing in the gaming zone and then looking that way. So the TV and the restrooms are over here on this side. Heart of Jasper Board President Ruger said the space of versatility means it could be rented for special gatherings. That'd be cool. Pay for itself, maybe. Not for 20 years, but he acknowledged that 10 parking spaces will be removed from the downtown area if the proposal is approved, but all the street parking along Main and on 4th is going to remain intact. It's a trade-off that we have to take into consideration. Is the courtyard worth losing 10 parking spaces for? That's what everybody, whether they say it or not, that's what they're upset about, is the 10 parking spaces or not. And quite a few people thinking the fact that Jasper would be paying for this themselves too, which just is not true. The Heart of Jasper feels the space will provide the needed public restrooms in the downtown area. We talked about that. As the revitalization continues, help provide that connector from Main Street to the Cultural Center, which has been identified as a goal in the city's comprehensive plan. If you haven't yet read the city's comprehensive plan, go read it. It's a light read. It's only like 108 pages long. You'll get through it in a weekend. That connector would be completed in this project's second phase, which includes widening sidewalks for the multi-use trail and adding amenity and entertainment areas along the route. Okay. He told the commission that once the project was completed, it would become a property managed by the Park and Rec Department. While some questions were asked about the maintenance, Kirsten explained that the materials and design were such that they would be easy to maintain. The main thing is just keeping it clean. City Planner Director Josh Kunzelman said the financial plan had included a discussion about creating an endowment to help with the future maintenance and upkeep. Yeah, okay, so there you go. Back to Steven saying Heart of Jasper should raise the money themselves. They plan to. And the author of the paper says, Steven, they are seeking donations and grants to support the creation of the park. Someone says, then the Park and Rec take over. How are they funded? That is very true. The maintaining of it That does ultimately come from Jasper, and that's what they mentioned about the endowment to help pay for that. So if they can raise enough money, it doesn't have to be that much, but it does have to be quite a bit. They can get an endowment to have it pay for itself every year. All right, Gary says, this is a constitutional republic. That means we the people should decide. I encourage you to work with city officials and have the matter placed on November ballot. Man, that's a lot of work to do, but possible. Maybe, I think. Or is this going to be like the new tax for eating out? Just bypass the people and jam it down our throats. Steven says precisely. Bill says, we've seen how that went with the recreation center. We are going to pay for that, and they have an Ireland sewer mess that will affect the entire county. So they aren't going to get enough grants or donations for this because everyone is strapped under Biden's economy. Okay, I don't know entirely about that. Laura says, maybe they need to go back to the drawing board and seriously consider putting in a water park for handicapped people. I'm sure they would get more donations and grants for this. I'm from Huntingburg. I'd even donate, and I'm sure they'd get more donations from other city residents. I do think we definitely need another park or a park in Jasper that is handicap focused, or at least definitely with a handicap in mind, or the disabled in mind for sure. I think that's something that we need to be focusing on. So Du Bois County Free Press responded, this is a nonprofit group that is asking for permission to turn a city-owned parking lot into a plaza and working to seek ways to pay for it. They already have support from the private sector. During the creation of the Impact Jasper Comprehensive Plan, the idea of a connecting trail walk from Main Street to the Cultural Center was brought up as a project by the individuals who took part in the planning sessions. You can see the plan at this link. Yeah, 174. Yep, there you go. Just let me know if you need me to slow down. Okay. They respond, you can also learn more about the process and the community input sessions that took place to create this plan. That is, I believe... Oh, yeah. That's just the link to the website. That's where they're at. Yeah, you can download these on the Jasper website. Go check them out. Gary responded and said, what happened to the media being the watchdog? They are now the lapdog. How far have we fallen? That's not nice. That's not needed. That's not very nice. They responded, we did report on this project twice so far, informing the public of the actions being taken by the group and commission. Very true. See? When was this? December 5th. That was 5 months ago. They did this. Heart of Jasper, work on you, Micropark, and fun path connecting downtown to Riverwalk. Actually, I should find that on Facebook and see how many comments that got. Hold on, one sec. Heart of Jasper receives about $25,000 annually for downtown activation. Quick mention about the parking lot. Okay, 1 second. Until about 3 years ago, that lot was owned by the city of Jasper and leased to Matrix annually. So I wonder if it's stopped. I assume it then that they have stopped leasing it to Matrix and they just are using it as a parking lot now. I know that there are quite a few parking lots around Jasper, around downtown Jasper, that are privately owned, and that the owners of those parking lots are not very keen on letting others actually park there. No one could park there while Brew was in business. Yeah, okay. That's kind of what I was thinking. So now that it's a city parking lot, and I'm not sure if a lot of other people know this either, but now that it's a city parking lot, anybody can park there even when Oink is not open. So this right here, if the city used to rent this out to Matrix, then during business hours, I assume that Matrix probably wouldn't want people parking there. It's probably for their employees or their trucks. Now that it's city owned, anybody can park there, and that's what would be going away. Okay. Jamie says, let's fix up the parks we have now. Why do we keep wasting our money on this? I agree with that to an extent. We need to fix up our parks. Philip says, you're right. Let's fix the parks and everything else up before even doing something like this and everything else. Awesome. Thank you. Sharon says, I agree. Kyle says, another waste of taxpayer money towards something we don't need. Again, not necessarily taxpayer money to pay for it out of the bat. Just like the swimming pool, tax us more as if we're already not suffering from inflation. On top of that, not everyone gets cost of living increases yearly, but are continuing to pay more for everything. That is true. LaDonna says, just like the Mid-States Corridor that Braun, Menke, and Mesmer once built, fix the roads we have now. Okay. Steve responded to Donna and says, exactly. People need to get away from the same old red/blue parties that are actually one party of dictators. The duopoly doesn't actually give us choices. They dictate to us. Libertarians are at least trying to unrig the system. No more Braun types. I'm going with Donald Rainwater for governor and Lars Mapstead for president. Okay. Who's Lars Mapstead? I need to look at that. Glenda says, another freaking increase on our property taxes. Hey, Jasper Council, some of us are barely getting by now, and we aren't made for freaking money. They haven't voted on it yet. They haven't approved any of it yet, and they aren't raising. Jasper is not paying for it. Paula just did 100 emojis. Janie said, the rich don't care about the people who keep it going. John says, I'm not sure they really care. They might say otherwise, but actions tell me otherwise. I've never felt taxes were bad until now. We are taxed on our earnings, then taxed on our purchases, and Lord forbid you want to acquire a nicer car or a bigger house because you get nailed for even higher taxes. And don't get me started on seeing a crew of workers roadside. Watch 2 guys work while 4 others stood and watched. I love our city, but the fat needs cut. It's off. It's out of hand. I mean, yeah, that's something I feel like everybody sees occasionally. The old trope of a crew of workers, 3 guys are watching 1 dude work, but that's not always necessarily what's going on. Like, people have specialties. Jody says, my taxes have doubled. Don't need another increase. It's time to stop charging seniors property taxes. 45 years of paying is enough. Let me know if you agree with that or not. I don't know if that's a controversial comment, I think. Betty says unnecessary period. Anita says I agree. So glad I sold my building at this location. Okay. Deanna says they need to come up with things for teenagers and older so they have something to do besides partying. I agree with that. Amy says so true, but the rich people only care about how Jasper will appear to others, not about actually taking care about others that are not in their social standing. Such a waste of time. Who the heck cares about a meditation area? Some people do care about that. Wish they knew what it is really like to struggle with where they are going to live. Some few typos. Such a disgrace. One apartment complex for so many in need. I'm embarrassed by the lack of concern for people with low income. Carmen says, quit wasting increasing taxes. There's a park 3 blocks to the north of the square, and the Riverwalk isn't too much further to the south. There's also a play area in the downtown coffee shop that just opened. Gary says, absolutely. Quit wasting increasing taxes. Go back to that map. Yeah, so if no park here, and there's a park over here. Well, yeah, technically there's a small park on the other side of the Riverwalk over here. And there's parking over there. It is just a bit of a like I said, a bit of a hike. Derek says, Jasper can't even keep their utility lines running without having to dig up the streets every other month. Yeah. Ouch, but true. Like I said, 2 water lines busted this last week. Philip said, I know the Jasper Council is trying to make this town as a tourist town, but fix up what we have and make better than keep making more new additions when it makes the people suffer more with their money. Okay, 4 replies on that. Let's see what they are. Debbie responded, they're trying to be a tourist town like Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, and it isn't going to happen. I know, exactly. What is Pigeon Forge? Let's look that up. Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg? Whoa. 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 I don't want Jasper to become this. I know that's a bit of an I know that's a bit of an exaggeration that we're going to turn into Pigeon Forge. We don't have a Ferris wheel. I don't think anybody would propose to put a Ferris wheel in anywhere. Man, could you imagine if someone tried to get rid of the water wheel on the Riverwalk to put a Ferris wheel there? That would be nuts. I have a map. Someone sent me a map. We'll get back to that later. Nicholas said, tourist towns boost up a select few families who already have the resources to corner the commercial and residential real estate and rental market. The barriers to entry for prospective entrepreneurs increase and good paying jobs decrease. Sure, the tourism helps support even nicer infrastructure and makes some people tons of money, but many locals will simply be priced out of their homes and unable to find any local alternatives. It's kind of how that works. Kind of. Not necessarily always, but sometimes. Kimberly says, why are they taking all of our money? First the Arts Center library, the square, now the pool, the Y, and now this. This is ridiculous. Everything is expensive enough the way it is, but now they are going to basically run us out of our homes with our taxes going to be raised to afford this. Scott says, people who has money don't care. People who have money don't care. The middle class people who have to work for their things. Big shots more or less got things handed down to them from their mom and dad, and their mom and dad gave it to them. Never had to work for what they have. Okay. Yeah, I mean, a lot of things have gotten pricier. Stuff is harder to buy. Paul says, this is getting ridiculous. We're all tired of tax increases every time we blink. Angela responded, exactly. Steven said, yes, I'm going full-blown libertarian. Donald Rainwater for governor. Lars for president. Amy says, could we just add some things to the parklands? Use the space for parking or something different? Putt-putt, something for youth teens to do? There is nothing. Amber says, agreed. Scott says, Jasper had a putt-putt and a go-kart track. Oh, yeah, Fuzzy Wuzzies. Well, Fuzzies. It was just called Fuzzies. Always busy. What happened to that? Maybe it made Jasper look bad? I remember when we first moved to this area, it seems like it would be a good thing to have here, and something reasonably priced so the kids can actually afford to do it. I remember Fuzzies. I was a little kid when that was here in Jasper. Fuzzies was awesome. A little go-kart place with the arcade on the inside and a bunch of prizes. Fuzzies was really cool. Okay, let's check out this parking thing. Did that come back up? Yeah. Okay, check out the toolbar. Neat. Guys are parking downtown. I did not know we had this. Somebody just sent this to me. Okay. Well, that's neat. You can see where all of the available parking spots are. Look at that. Wait. Is it updated? Shouldn't this be... What does purple mean? Street parking? Map legend. All day with permit. 2 hour without permit. Is this updated? Because this should be 10 parking spots right there. Referendum passed at 6% in favor. Okay. Okay. Back to the Facebook. Man, Putt-Putt would be cool, though. Imagine if they just scrapped all that and just put Putt-Putt here. Jamie says, update the parks they have now. Darla says, agree. Brian says, lot was full tonight. We need more parking, not less in the downtown area. I will say, Oink is a very popular restaurant. So when they are open, that parking lot is full, tends to be full. So one would assume that if that parking lot is no longer a parking lot and these guys are open, you're going to definitely need 10 places in the very immediate approximate, or some people need to park further away, or they will just go somewhere else to eat. And so here, I mean, there are quite a few here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 on this street alone. I mean, yeah. But that's going to get eaten up real quick by the other businesses that are in front of those spots. That is unfortunate. Okay. Jason says, all I see is more money needed. Aren't property taxes high enough? Steve says, yes, and it's unconditional to pay rent to the government for our property. What does that mean? And it's unconditional to pay rent to the government for our property. I mean, isn't that what property taxes are? Bill, they are, and we need to vote Giesler out of her position. It's unconditional pay rent for the government of our property. Oh, shoot. That's cool. Okay, so somebody mentioned, sent me a message in a different chat. They said, Bueller Park on the north side is undergoing a major update. New playground, shelter house, bathrooms, pickle courts, and walking trails. Well, that's cool. Bueller Park was always a cool park to go to. Yeah, here we go. This is really far away from the downtown, but still a really cool park. I did go here a lot whenever I was a kid. But it's nice to hear that this is going to get some updates and some much needed love. That is cool. Awesome. Okay, that's cool to know. Where did I leave Hoff at? Oh, yeah, okay. Bob says another increase in property taxes. Maybe once it's done, yeah. Sharon said, I'm tired of the increases. Bob says, me too. Paula says, right. Kathy says, not sure where this would be. Do you know? Yep. It's going to be right here. Next to the new Oink restaurant. This is where Brew used to be. Karina says, yep, you're right. Karina also says, fix the roads first. Yeah, the roads are starting to get pretty bad. But again, that's two separate things. Tina says the square never had enough parking, and since they redid it, there's even less parking now. That is true. Whenever they redid the square, they did lose some of the parking around the square. I think there was an extra spot or two on each one of these. That is now not there. Scott says, hell, I don't even have a curb in front of my house. Thanks for a place to lounge when I break my leg falling off my sidewalk. Okay. The meme game is pretty strong in the comments. Spring broken. Jody says, agree. I've been trying for years to get my sidewalk fixed in front of my house to prevent anyone from tripping on it when trying to visit me. A lawsuit would cost much more than repaving would. Steve says, another waste of taxpayer money. When is enough enough? Marge says, agree. Mary says, Mary says, another project to waste perfectly good space that is not needed. Leave it as public parking and find a better way to utilize that money. Carlos says, so are we going to just forget about the roads that are in horrible shape and not fix it and worry about that stuff that doesn't need done at all? Rodney says, let's do some more stuff so that we can raise the taxes some more. Gary responded to that, said, yes, sir. Folks have begun to retire and things are changing. New pool, aquatic center, etc. All needed new ways to be funded either from local or federal level. Keynesian economics shifted an aggregate demand curve to the right, resulting in higher prices. Demand side economics. We need to get back to supply chain economics, lower taxes, and less regulations. Okay. Jasmine says, Levi has been saying this as well. Not to the first one, but to the original one. Kathy says, so glad I don't live in Jasper. Priorities. Come on. Jasper's a nice place to live. I enjoy living here. Steve says, even those of us in the rest of the county pay the horrible decision by the dictators in Jasper in one way or another. Okay, that's a harsh comment. Before the Republicrats and Democans ran the other parties out of business, the people, the actual government according to the Constitution, used to tell the government employees, the president on down to the public schools and cops, the way it's going to be. Not anymore. We need a militia to take back control ASAP. ASAP. Kathy says, absolutely. Not, well, yeah, she's responding to him. Jan says, I have an idea where Jasper can spend money. Your sidewalks in the areas south of Memorial Hospital out of Newton Street are horrid and dangerous. Sean says, I hear you, but laugh every time. Ain't seen people walking or running in that road right next to the sidewalk. LOL, I'm a big fan of sidewalks personally. So people are running on the road instead of the sidewalk. Jan says, sidewalks are nice for strollers, a little safer than the road. Oh, that's true. Keith says, I think the city of Jasper does a great job with all these improvements. Hope everyone takes advantage of them. Well, that's a nice comment, Keith. I mean, if it goes through, it'll be really pretty. Yeah, it'd be really interesting to see, like, I'm going to try to go to as many of the public meetings as I can about this, just because I wonder if people will still have the same tune once they figure out exactly how it's being funded. I mean, granted, the city is going to pay for the upkeep and maintenance of it after it's completed, but the big sticker price of actually constructing it, I don't think they even gave a estimate. I wonder if we're talking like almost $1 million to completely renovate this. I'd hope it wouldn't be that expensive. But man, who knows with how much stuff costs nowadays. Iris says, so if the Mid-States Corridor goes through, Jasper will be bypassed. Think about that for a minute and what it will mean for our downtown. I'm all for improving Jasper, but this may be money wasted. Beth responded to her saying, well, downtown Jasper will be a ghost town when that gets pushed through. Those pushing for this road say it'll bring more tourists. Look at other towns with a divided highway going around it. They're dead in their downtown areas. Kind of ironic how those affected by the Mid-States Corridor are fighting this exact same battle. Let's fix the issues we have before we add new roads and parks. My family will lose our house and farmland to this unnecessary road, and I'll get paid. Okay, so some of that's not really applies to the micro park. Chris says that corridor is the worst thing that could happen to Jasper. All the work they did on downtown will be for nothing. Yep. Beth says, yep, we need to make sure Mike Braun isn't elected governor or he'll fast track this. Mike said he just won the GOP nomination for governor. Ira says, definitely agree. Praying it won't go through. This is giving me Rosemary Beach vibes. Love it. Amanda says, I thought the same thing. Dara says, she's asking Free Press, when is the Jasper Common Council meeting for those who would like to voice their opinions one way or another? Monthly, on the Wednesday after the third Monday at 5:30 p.m., but we don't know when this will be on the agenda. That is true, because this has just been proposed. It hasn't actually been, they don't have the money for it. It hasn't actually made it to any stage of like fruition or coming to coming to actually pass. It's just really, it's just a picture. That's as far as they've kind of gotten with it. Adrian says the council does not let you speak. If you show up, do not expect to be allowed to speak. Even if you call ahead, the mayor can deny you the ability to speak. Jasper City Council is not as open to hearing from the public as the other councils in the county. I've been there, done this for many years now. You must call ahead to be able to speak to the council unless they have a special session. Whoa. Jeffrey says he's responding, says it's an election year. If they don't let citizens have a say, then they're not our elected officials and just a bunch of do-nothing agenda seekers. Disgust me when politicians ignore the voters. They're hired to do a job. Yeah, well, so the Common Council definitely are elected, but that was last year, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure that was last year. So I don't think a single one of the Common Council is up for re-election. Maybe one or two of them, but I don't think so. So I think most of them are more or less safe from whatever they decide on this. We already decided. Bill said, sounds Marxist and doctoral to me. Okay, strong words. Stephen, responding to this past couple comments, said, I spoke to one of the council members. I was told to send a letter to them. Steve responded, that's no way for our employees to talk to us on our, quote, the taxpayers' property. We tell them the when, what, and where. Time for a major adjustment. I mean, just don't be mean to them. They're just doing their job. Chloe says, shake my head. How about affordable housing? They don't want that because they want to keep Jasper rich. I mean, I'm sure if half these comments were true about Jasper being as uppity as they're making it sound, I'm sure the powers that be would want this building demolished and not turned into affordable housing units. But it's definitely going to be kept around. 147 single and two-bedroom apartments. The rent will be between $400 and $950. That sounds affordable to me. All right. There's a lot of comments on this one. Melissa responded to that. Oh, wait, no. Deb responded to Chloe and said, frankly, I like that housing is priced accordingly. Lower it too much, and the city can bring in riffraff. Homeowners do not want this. Whoa, I've lived through it, and it's not fun to live in a crime-ridden, rundown city. Okay. Melissa responded to that and says, just because you live in affordable housing, you are a criminal, ? There are plenty of families that could use cheaper housing. Doesn't make them riffraff. Sure makes you sound like a Jasper snob. Deb responds back, says, nope. Chloe says, Jasper is a great city, but there are young people here too. We simply cannot afford the limited housing options in Jasper. Renters expect 3 times the rent when moving in, and typically the price of a 2-bedroom home is not in the price range of single young people. All right, I'm going to skip some of these. Deb responds back, yes, you know what I'd love to see is a plot of acreage that people can put tiny homes on. That way it's affordable and modern at the same time. I used to live in a slum that was filled with Section 8 housing and low-income people. It never thrived. It never had forward-thinking objectives, and it went to heck. Okay, Amy says, are you serious? Just because you aren't wealthy does not mean you are riffraff. This is beyond prejudice. Not everyone struggling is riffraff or a bad person. Well, that's very true. 100% true. Sometimes life throws you a curveball and you find yourself in a position you do not want to be in. Yeah, very true. Yeah. All right, Corey says, I'm pretty sure this woman just insulted the entire middle class. Deb, us riffraff are the ones that keep your town running. Jasper's full of snobs, plain and simple. I don't think she meant it quite that bad, but Lisa says, it's always something just to better Jasper than any other town and raise taxes. When is it ever going to be enough? Debbie responds, I totally agree. They're trying to make our city a pigeon forge. Eh? You know what the the mill's growing on, or the wheel's growing on me. Lisa says, right. Scott says, Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, you ain't even comparing apples to apples. Yeah, see, I mean, the Pigeon Forge reference, I've heard it twice now, definitely is not, I mean, come on, that's not true. That's over the top. Jewel says, oh my, there goes the taxes again. Dean says, If you remove parking, there should be a requirement to replace that parking with the same radius of the courthouse area, similar to ... If you fill in a wetland, you got to create a wetland area somewhere. Waste of money, I feel. Rent was $250 a month for a place to live 20 years ago. Now taxes are $250 a month added to my house payment just for living in town. Wow. Kim responded to him and says, I 100% agree the roads are horrible. Or no, wait, sorry. Different comment. Michelle says, what about the roads? Kim responds, says, I 100% agree the roads are horrible. Libby says, where are people going to park to go to the micro park? Well, on the road, of course. On the road next to the micro park where there is very little parking. Jody says, we just finished a downtown redo, ... Anthony says, should resurface the court and put in new goals at the State Police Post Park on Sunset Drive. John says, another space that won't be utilized but by a handful of people. Way to waste of money. Stop it already. Eleanor says, that's a lot to invest in something pretty much seasonal. I say revamp what Jasper already has. That is a good point. This is very seasonal. Because as soon as it gets cold, you know you're not going to be seeing people out there. If it's rainy, you're not going to be seeing people out there. It's got to be nice days for it to be used. Parking lots are used 24/7. Yeah, that's a good point. Rob says, I'm sure it'll be nice, but I can't afford to fix my own home, let alone chip in for yet another park. Well, just the maintenance. Just the maintenance. Haley says, awesome. Excited to see Jasper invest in facilities everyone can use. Okay. Steven responding to her, you do realize that it will reduce the area of the beer garden, right? It's a horrible idea. You should join your husband's request for better sidewalks and fixing potholes instead of taking away parking and useless microparks. Just saying. And then Haley responded back, I disagree but respect your opinions. Well, that's nice. See, I don't know if it is actually going to reduce the park or not. I will find... That's the one thing I'm definitely going to try to find out. And next week during stream, I will update everybody. April, it will be awesome to have public restrooms downtown. Long time overdue. Excited for the new improvements. Lana says, I don't spend much time downtown. Usually can't park. I also don't see a big draw to the area. Are people hanging out around the new square? Quote, if you build it, they will come. Doesn't always work. More is not always the answer. Many people on here have voiced good points. Now we need people to hear them. Okay. Scott says, get someone in there and stop spending. Jasper always has to impress people. You all know that. We have this, we have that. Who really cares? Jasper wants to be better than anyone else. Connie says, wonder what the plans are for the Straussen Fest. Isn't that part of the beer garden? And Dave says, yep. So yeah, so that is where the trucks park, or the beer trucks all park to sell beer. And I wonder if it would be still incorporated for people to sit there or not. But I will say, every year, this is where they put like the tables and everything right next to the street. It's packed, shoulder to shoulder. So if you put like a nice seating area with like structures and all of this different kind of stuff around there, it's going to be even more packed. Dave says, let's be real here. People already hate the lack of parking downtown. Wait, hold up. People are mostly lazy and won't walk a block or two if they can't park in front of a building. So let's just get rid of a few more parking spaces. Oink will survive the loss of parking at that location. Quote. This is from the article. He acknowledged that 10 parking spaces will be removed from the downtown area if the proposal is approved, but all the street parking along Main and on 4th is going to remain intact. It's a trade-off that we have to take into consideration. Is the courtyard worth losing 10 parking spaces for? Hey, downtown rehab people, there is a perfectly good empty parking, barely used parking lot across from the police station. Build a parking garage there, and I'll fully support any of your little beautification projects. That's my parking lot. Tony says, hey, someone make the spending stop. Yes, that is actually my parking lot. What this gentleman is referencing when he says, hey, downtown rehab people, there's a perfectly good, empty, barely used parking lot across from the police station. Okay. Here's a police station. Here is... Oh, maybe he's talking about this back one? Possible? I feel like that one gets used. I feel like both of these get used quite a bit. Um, but this one right here, definitely sees quite a bit of use. But I mean, hey, you put a little parking garage there that just goes up 3 stories. That would be kind of cool. Somebody responding to this comment said, I parked in the old National Bank lot several times and had a note on my windshield that it is not a public lot. It's for persons doing business in the building there only. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Some privately owned parking lots like this one, maybe this one, um, this the business does not want you to park there. And yeah, you can see like the green all around there. That's all day, no permit needed, but that is street parking. So you cannot actually park like in the actual parking lot. Like at the post office. All day with permit, 2 hours without permit. So you can park in the parking lot for 2 hours without a permit. But over here, you can't use any of the old national parking lots. Paula responded, what businesses are even in there besides the bottom floor? During the day, that lot is practically empty, and yes, it's taking up a whole city block. Yeah. Well, they're being sold. They're selling that building. It is for sale right now. Matthew says, now you're thinking. I too think the city could benefit from having a multi-level parking garage. Lots of space and small footprint when you finally go up in the third dimension. That's very true. That would be a good idea. Expensive. Very expensive, but a very good idea. And also, something like that, if the city does it, taxes, will probably go up, but the city very much will pay for it. Or if they contract it out, then it probably won't be a free parking garage. You'll probably have to pay to park there, which everybody hates. Denny says, come up with ways to battle all the traffic issues. Have so many damn stoplights to stops and backs the traffic so terrible. It's a joke to drive through Jasper. Stoplight City is what Jasper is known for. No, not the infamous Stoplight City. Lee responded, the light by Jasper Vacuum Seal is getting ridiculous. The light by DuBois County Tire is pathetic. The light by Hardee's, the light by Huck's, I don't even understand. The light by the state police post turns red for the highway when nobody's sitting at the light. I think they're on a timer. They have messed up the stoplights through town, period. I feel like INDOT is in charge of that. Maybe not. Plus, people over 60 years old don't even need to be driving, period. I'm sorry, but the BMV needs to put an age limit to where you can drive. You can't drive anymore. Jasper's full of them. Whoa! People over 60 take away their licenses? Gary responds, Sunday afternoon drivers, 45 and 55. Denny says, I am 67 and still drive, so why should I have to give up driving? Jan says, people 60 plus shouldn't be driving, ? The age group has doubled in the workforce in the last 2 decades, while the other age groups have decreased. Kim says, seriously, 60? You do realize that the retirement age is now 67. How do you propose people over 60 get to work? That's ridiculous. Debbie says, I agree. Yeah, that's a little ridiculous. People, 60 years old definitely still need their license. Bill says, did we all like our property taxes going out the roof over the last 2 years? Bet you didn't. This county doesn't not have oceanfront property, so what are we paying for? Brooke says, I think this is cool. I'm excited for it. Angie says, what a joke. Something good. No. Kathy says, absolutely, to what a joke. Amanda says, we need public transportation system, not another park the city will never maintain. The city can't even maintain what they have. Yeah, maybe. Amy says, totally agree. Matthew says, we'll never maintain. To what exactly are you referring to? No response. Allison, stop doing unnecessary things that increase taxes. Okay. Jewel says, but as long as they have taxpayers' money, they'll spend it. Lee says, how about blocking the city from using taxpayers' money on stupid stuff and more on what they really need it for? You can show up to a meeting and let them know. Just, use your words. Ryan says, seems unnecessary. Crystal says, all this for a once-a-year event. It'd see use outside of the Strassenfest. And maybe even more festivals would take place if there was more infrastructure in place like that. But who knows? And then not that that's adequate infrastructure for an entire festival, but something like that kind of helps make the decision. Neil says, maybe fix the potholes first. I agree with that. Heather says, for the love of God. Lisa says, where is this supposed to go? It's supposed to go right here. I told you. I know your comment and you were made days ago, but right there. Scott says, stop the spending, people. Chris says, is that where the beer garden is? Yes. Stephanie says, ridiculous. Ty says, City Jasper government. Wish we'd instead prioritize improving street sidewalks and fixing potholes. Don't worry, we have a solution. Paving for pizza. Oh, that's the Domino's thing. Crystal, they are only concerned with the Strassenfest. Steve says, obviously everybody hates what the red-blue dictators are doing to us. We're slaves to their selfish whims. We need to quit voting for the same communist team, red-blue, and expecting different results. How insane is that? Let's take stand. Let's vote libertarian. Dan responds, unfortunately, unless they do away with the 50% majority wins rule, the third-party system just steals the votes from the wrong candidate. Yep. Clint says, the corruption in this county is out of control. Nan says, not missing Jasper at all. Driving through it is bad enough. Tanya says, another waste of taxpayer money. And Tammy says, totally agree. All right. I don't think that's all 295 comments, but those are the ones that have loaded for me. 33 shares on this. 295 comments, 182 reacts. Yeah, that one, this one blew up quite a bit. Okay. So I told you guys I had a possible solution. Told you I had a possible solution, and I don't know if anyone has ever proposed something like this. Let's get rid of that. But something I've noticed from living in the downtown area is that we practically already have these streets as being one-ways, 4th and 5th Street, to the east side of Newton, of 231. Well, not 231, of Newton. But both 4th Street and 5th Street, for the most part, the way traffic travels on them, everybody's going east on 4th Street and they're going west on 5th Street. It's just, that's my observation. And that is just an opinion and observation. But something I was thinking of, let me pull this over here. Maybe something like this. What does that look like? Yeah. So you turn, obviously not up and down. This would be east and west. But you make the streets one ways. And you close off half of the street for parking. Not parallel parking, but angled parking. So that way you get more, you're able to get more of them in there. But yeah, so you just do that all along 4th Street going east. So that way people can turn into 4th Street and park along any side of these streets. And then 5th Street would be the other way. I feel like that is just the cleanest solution to make a lot of parking. I mean, it would look nice. And I'm not sure, I mean, the city may not want one-ways. They may be tired of one-ways. I mean, going north is all one-way streets. Jackson is one-way, Mill is one-way. All the way up to 15th Street. And so is Main Street. These are all one-ways. So I get not wanting to cross one-way streets, like having 4th cross 2 different facing one-ways. Well, it's not even one-way this direction. All south of Main Street is two-way streets. But I feel like that is a possible solution that, without having to tear anything down, just automatically rezones it to be parking. And you would create, I mean, honestly, you'd probably create 10 spots per block. So you could do 10, 20, 30, 40. That's already got parking. And then all the way down here, along Fifth. I think that's a possible alternative, but maybe not. I will talk to people. I will ask them. I will find out what is going to happen if this becomes a micro park. What is going to happen to the beer garden? Because it's already so cramped that I don't know where they would put the trucks to sell beer at. But yeah, okay. All right. That's it for the discussion. We will wait for any new information that'll come from this. I'm sure it won't be too long. Maybe next month or so, I'll start to hear stuff. I encourage you guys to read these articles whenever they come out, and periodically just scan the website for any new articles that come out. Freep does a really good job of posting articles, and if not them, then one of the other news stations does a pretty good job of it as well. Okay. All right, that's it for this stream. Thanks for tuning in. You will see this on YouTube, and then the stream will be back next Monday, 4 to 6 p.m. And I'll see you guys there. Bye.